So there's all right, there's a couple stages to this, right? Because there's dragging consciousness in its hijacked form, and then there's dragging consciousness in its self-realized form. Okay. So going back to that reference of the dragon consciousness coming through the field of Venus. So this is a lot of the most ancient teachings on this planet. The guardians of those teachings are dragons. So a dragon consciousness that is whole, that is self-realized, that is not dismembered, but has become whole again and reunited with its counterpart and is in oneness. It's a feeling. I don't want to say it's a particular image, because images can be hijacked, because all the images that we get from our intuitive senses, our third eye, our inner knowing, we have actually several perceptual centers that are beyond the third eye. Third eye is the one that, a lot of people glorify, but it's not the most powerful one by far not the most powerful perceptual center we have, because all of the images we get from the third eye and these different other perceptions, the inner movie, the visuals that we get are created by the hypothalamus, which is just underneath the pineal gland here. And if the hypothalamus has contamination, either from trauma, from chemicals, or from energy, right, spell casting, ancestral stuff, all that, then the movie that you get is not reliable. It's gonna be distorted. It could be fragmented, it could be reversed, it could be inverted, all those things. So I wouldn't say a visual cue is necessarily what you would go off discerning if something is dragging consciousness. It's a feeling, it's an inner knowing. And when I am interacting with dragging consciousness, sometimes it's because that's my intent, right? And other times it drops in with the teaching. And there's, like I said, there's different kinds associated here. There's different nesting dolls of dragging consciousness, because we have agreed to forget ourselves on many levels upon coming here. No, actually, not just coming here, but remaining here, staying here lifetime after lifetime. More agreements of forgetting could come in, right? So there's lots of nesting dolls like that. But in general, the feeling I have when I'm interacting with dragon energy is a vastness and a deep, I want to say, centered, silent wisdom. It's like a wisdom that once I realize whatever that nugget is, it changes everything. Okay, it just cuts right through any of the mental loops that I might be in, emotional reliving of trauma I might be in. So it's a feeling. It's a knowing for me. Now, we're all in different stages of reassembling our dragon knowledge. And as we reassemble this dragon knowledge, we're building a bridge to the consciousness that is inside of our bodies to a vaster consciousness, bringing it to be inside of our bodies. So I guess another piece I'd put in there is that it's an inside thing. If we're traveling outside, this is where the deceptions happen. This is where the funhouse mirrors happen, right? So this is not reliable. Watching the outside and watching for signs, watching for communication on a universal level through synchronicity, that's one thing. But actually searching for a deep level of knowledge outside is inviting distortion. You always want to go inside with the seeking of the knowledge, seeking of the question, like that. And this is difficult because we change frequencies when we're inside of our bodies, because our body is all kinds of different frequencies nestled inside of each other. So we need to choose, focus on the frequency that is our centeredness, that is our self, our big self. And that's going to bring us into the knowing of these different dragon pieces. So this is why we have Light Body Essentials. Light Body Essentials teaches everybody not only good energetic hygiene, but how to stay in your body and how to go deeper into your own rhythms to get to these places inside, right? It is so deceptively simple what we need to do, but because it's not, this fancy dancy, the New Age has all kinds of stuff. You use this crystal, you say this chant, you do this, you do that, all that. People take it for granted. But I like simple, and through the exploration of my own reassembled dragon knowledge, it's like I have direct access on demand, really, of all the different lifetimes I've had as a master in these different teachings. So the Tao is very strong and relevant for me in this lifetime. So without even intending to do this, I ended up studying, going into darkroom experiences in a Taoist temple compound, with a master, and I wasn't even really intending that. It just happened, and it was because that's what was necessary for me to reconnect with those past selves, the records of who and how that walk unfolded and the different wisdom that was learned, and not only that, but the energetic architecture of what it was like to be a realized being in those traditions. I also have a very strong connection with the Mayan, with the and the Inca, and other wisdom traditions. The Toltecs, very, very big door openers for me. Door openers because it triggered memories, and these encodements, as they get triggered, they come into my awareness, I feed them, they grow, and they reemerge within the energetic architecture. So all of us have these things. All of us have this. It's just a matter of feeding it and letting it grow. And then as a default, things synchronistically come together. So dragon knowledge is the kind of knowledge that cuts through the confusion completely. It's something that it's a realization that completely changes everything, and it's so vast. There's a feeling, a sense that you can spend the rest of your life flushing it out. You can spend the rest of your life, multiple lives, flushing it out. But because we're in this here and now time where everything is very accelerated, that's why we have these encodements accessible to us the way they are, okay? The teachers that I worked with many years ago, each of these encodements were gifted through transmissions from master's student. And the way the energy was back then, I'm talking about like 50 years ago or so, the way the energy was back then, the apprentice would get a transmission every 7 years. It would take 7 years of dedicated work and focus to activate the transmission, feed the transmission, and have it grow into a part of the light body where it's subconsciously informing you and erasing programming from the spell casting of the matrix world. But then they had a vision, the collective elders of those traditions had a vision of these times. And they're like, okay, we need to get these transmissions out to everybody we can. So then they began 7 years, turned into 2 years, turned into 1 year, turned into 3 months, turned into 3 days. Okay? And that's how accelerated things are right now. We are realizing levels of mastery within ourselves that other lifetimes or in previous generations would have taken multiple lifetimes, or at the very least a good portion of like 40, 50 years. The Taoists talk about it took 40 years to clean out your ancestral heritage, the cellular programming that you inherited from your ancestors, before you can truly walk your own purpose for being here in a body in this realm. Okay, and of course this is accelerated greatly, and there's so many teachings available to us